In the hospitality world, trying to predict the future used to be a bit of a guessing game. But what if I told you that's all changing? Today, we're going to dive into how the hotel industry is moving away from just looking at the past and is now using some seriously smart AI to predict and even shape its future.
Hello, and a huge welcome to all the students from Europe Hotel School. It's great to have you here. I've spent my career at the intersection of hospitality and artificial intelligence, and I'm really excited to walk you through this journey. We're not just talking theory today. We're talking about the real-world tools that are going to define your careers.
So, here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about why the old way of doing things just doesn't cut it anymore. Then, we'll introduce the hero of our story, investigative AI. We'll peek under the hood to see how it works, and then we'll see how it's changing the job of a revenue manager for the better. We'll even walk through a real-life scenario. And finally, we'll talk about what all this means for you.
All right, so let's jump right in. To really get why the new way is such a game changer, we first have to understand why the old methods are, well, broken.
For decades, forecasting was basically like driving a car by only looking in the rearview mirror. You'd look at last year's numbers, or maybe the year before, and just assume this year would be kind of the same. And hey, for a while that worked. But our modern world, it's anything but predictable. We've got sudden disruptions and a global market that changes in the blink of an eye.
And what's causing all this unpredictability? You know the drill. It could be a massive global event that shuts down travel. It could be a freak weather system that suddenly diverts thousands of people to your city, or maybe a new airline adds a cheap route, and poof, you've got a wave of demand you never saw coming. Your spreadsheet from last year has no idea how to handle any of that.
So you can't drive looking in the rearview mirror anymore. You need a GPS that's looking ahead at the road. And that's exactly what investigative AI is.
So what exactly is investigative AI? Don't let the name scare you. Think of it as a super smart detective for the market. Systems like the IDEA's G3 RMS, which is really the industry standard, don't just look at what happened. They build this complete 360-degree picture of what is about to happen by scanning tons of forward-looking data.
So, what kind of data are we talking about here? Well, the AI is constantly scanning everything. It's looking at event calendars to see if a big concert or conference is coming to town. It's watching real-time flight searches to see if people are suddenly planning trips to your city. It's checking weather forecasts, what your competitors are charging, all these little signals that tell a story about future demand.
Okay, so the system gathers all this information. But how does it go from knowing a concert is happening next month to setting the perfect price for a hotel room? Let's break down how it turns all that data into actual decisions.
It's really a four-step process. First, it just drinks up all that external data we talked about. Second, its brain identifies the most important signals, the real demand drivers. Third, and this is the magic part, it runs thousands and thousands of what-if scenarios to see how different prices would play out. And finally, based on all those simulations, it sets the perfect price range for every single room. The result is this incredibly dynamic and automatic pricing strategy. We're not talking about one flat price for all of Tuesday night. The system knows if it's business travelers looking for rooms versus families on vacation, and it adjusts the price on the fly to get the absolute most value out of every single booking.
Now, if you're hearing all this automation, you might be thinking, uh-oh, is a robot going to take my job? And the answer is a clear and absolute no. In fact, it does the opposite. It makes the human job way more important and, honestly, way more fun.
This quote right here just nails it. The AI shifts the revenue team's job description. You're no longer a rate setter, chained to a spreadsheet, manually plugging in numbers all day. You become a revenue strategist. Think about it. The AI takes care of the tedious, day-to-day tactical stuff. That frees you, the human expert, up to do the big picture thinking. You get to hunt for those pockets of hidden demand, to spot new opportunities, and to really think strategically about the business.
So this all sounds great in theory, right? But let's look at a concrete example of how this plays out and actually makes a hotel more money.
Okay, imagine this. The entire city is slow. Overall hotel occupancy is low. The old school move would be to panic and slash prices on everything, right? But the AI sees something the human eye might miss. It notices a spike in demand, but only for luxury suites, probably because some high-end private event is in town. So what does it do? It executes a surgical strategy. It keeps the suite prices high to capture that value, but it gets aggressive with the standard room prices to drive up occupancy there.
And the result of that brilliant two-part move? Maximized RevPAR. That's revenue per available room, the #1 metric for a hotel's success. You're not leaving money on the table with your best rooms, but you're also not letting your other rooms sit empty. It is literally the best of both worlds.
So let's bring it all home. Let's talk about what this means for you as you prepare to step into leadership roles in this industry.
Here's the bottom line. Understanding and being able to use these predictive models isn't just a bonus skill anymore. It is absolutely a core part of the job. Your ability to leverage this technology is going to be directly linked to the financial success of any hotel you manage. It's that simple. So, I'll leave you with this one question to think about. The market is always going to be unpredictable. That's a given. The real question is, are you going to be prepared to predict it? Because your success and the success of your hotel will depend on that answer.